Hello. I have no idea what the temperature is, the humidity, the barometer, or the wind, because I'm recording this on Sunday. You're now listening to the Sunday episode. I'm recording Wednesday's midweek episode because I won't be here. I'll be on the Isle of Wight. What I can tell you today is it's a beautiful day, but the wind, what's the point? You know what I'm going to say about the wind. Which direction is it coming from? I'm not even going to tell you because you know. Kerry, nice to have a chat with you via email. Well, you sent me MP3 recordings, didn't you? I couldn't reply with a recording because I was in the middle of doing something, packing up radios and stuff like that for the holiday. Is your hairdresser friend listening? Is she now an avid listener of the podcast, I wonder? If so, I don't know her name, but hello, hairdresser. And Pauline, are you listening? Pauline, you know who you are. I know who I am. It's a small world, isn't it? Pauline, I hope you're listening to the podcast. I don't know whether you did before, or Lou or Beth. I'm not sure whether they listened to the podcast episodes before or not. Perhaps they will now that Kerry's put the word round everywhere. Hello, Mac. Just as I was talking then, your email turned up. Yes, you're right about collecting things, and you mentioned what used to be on the Robertson's marmalade jars. That's going back to when I was a child. I used to collect those. Haven't read your email yet, Mac. I've just had a quick glance at it. I shall do that when I've finished rambling, talking nonsense. Ray, nice to hear from you. Nicknames: Snobbo, Popeye, Plug, Blonde Pete, Bad Egg, Chops and Mr. Odd. I like that. I've just emailed you, Ray, and I said that years ago, we used to have neighbours. They were known as Mr. and Mrs. Strange. I thought that was a joke because they were rather strange. They were peculiar people. So we all knew them as Mr. and Mrs. Strange. One day I found out that was their actual name. That is a surname, isn't it? Strange. Rather an odd surname, but, well, mind you, all surnames are odd, aren't they? Most of them anyway. So that was quite funny. We all thought it was a joke in the road, and that was their actual name. There's one here, Ray, that I won't mention. Well, perhaps I will. We had a chap in the workshop we called One Bull. And you had a chap you put here called One Bull, for obvious reasons. I was, 15, 16, an apprentice, and I heard them calling this chap One Bull, and I couldn't work it out. I think, what's that about? What's going on? Anyway, I asked someone, and apparently, well, he explained. It's self-explanatory, really, isn't it? Anyway, nice to hear from you, Ray. As I said on the Sunday episode, there won't be an episode next Sunday because I'm not here. I've got no way of recording it while away and actually putting it online, so I've got to wait till I get back. But when I do get back, you'll have something to look forward to, me going on again about the Isle of Wight, year in, year out. The Isle of Wight, blah, blah, blah. No, I won't bore you with it. I'll just mention one or two things. I'm taking the recorder so I can do a little bit of an outside broadcast just to bore you even further. No, I know some of you have said to me, a lot of you have said, when I joke about boring you, it's not boring at all. You love listening to it. So I shall ramble. I ramble in West Sussex. I shall ramble in Hampshire on the Isle of Wight. I shall ramble everywhere. I've just had to admonish these squirrels yet again. I put some plants in yesterday. Today they're all dug up. Only put 4 or 5 in. They're all dug up, all on top of the soil on their sides. Big holes dug everywhere. I love the squirrels, but they really are a pain in the neck. That'll do. Tina, nice to hear from you. Rather like Kerry, you don't live too far away from me. A couple of miles, 3 miles, I think you said. No idea where, but you say about 2 or 3 miles away. Nice to hear from you. Glad you're enjoying the summer. Well, it's not summer yet, is it? It's actually spring still. I get totally confused with these seasons. Never know where one ends and one begins. So lovely to hear from you, Tina. If anyone else wants to email me, especially if you live locally, just round the corner, or even in the same road as me, rants@protonmail.com. My water butt is still empty. Gary, the tortoise, is enjoying the garden. He's wandering around there, eating weeds and all sorts of things. He's loving it. But the water butt is empty. No rain now for several weeks. I remember my dad, I'm going back to when I was 6 or 7 years old, maybe 8 or 9. He bought a water butt. It was a wooden barrel. They didn't have plastic ones back then. Big wooden barrel, huge thing. And it was delivered by this lorry, rolled into the back garden. And he said to me, have a smell in there. And it smelt of whiskey. I'm sure it was whiskey. What a stench. It was awful. I said, what's that? And he said, it's whiskey. they used to put whiskey into barrels, wooden barrels. I believe they still do. I think, don't the barrels come from Portugal where they make port or something like that? So that adds a bit of flavour, a bit of port flavour to the whiskey. I like port and lemon. Whenever I have a port and lemon, if there's friends or family here, they'll say, oh, that's an old lady's drink. Well, it's not an old lady's drink. I like it. I'm an old man. So it's an old man's drink as well. I love port and lemon. So this whiskey, it was awful. I think that's what put me off spirits. I know I was only young. Obviously, I wasn't drinking spirits then, but I don't like whiskey, gin, vodka. I don't like any of it. I don't like wine. I don't like anything. I like real ales, that's all, just the real ales. They're really nice. Well, actually, technically, they're not real ales, are they, in bottles? A real ale, I think, is in a barrel, still fermenting. Is that right? No doubt someone will correct me. Ray's Rants at protonmail.com. Anyway, he had to fill up this barrel with water, and it was leaking all over the place, seeping out of the joints. What are they called? Who makes barrels? Are they Coopers? Yes, they're Coopers, aren't they? Make barrels. And the joints were all seeping water. And I remember saying to him, that's no good, it leaks. He said it won't after a few days. And he explained to me what happens is the water soaks into the wood expands and seals the gaps. Isn't that amazing? There's a bit of useless information for you. I expect you're saying, well, I already knew that. What I used to like about holidays when I was a child was waking up. We'd wake up at 4 a.m. if we're going to Wales or Somerset, somewhere down the West Country or wherever. 4 a.m, Dad liked to leave then, about 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we'd wake up at 4, we'd get ready, get into the car, and off we'd go. The reason for that was, he said it was to avoid the traffic. Well, back then, there wasn't any traffic, so I don't know why he did that. I think it was just nicer driving in the dark. I must admit, I like driving in the dark, especially if it's a country lane, because you can see headlights coming from a long way away, can't you? And of course, on the Isle of Wight, there are lots of very, very narrow country lanes with little passing places, and you've every chance of meeting another car head on or a tractor, something like that coming the other way. And what I have discovered over the years, the majority of people can't reverse. They don't know how to reverse a car. Have you found that? So we stop. We're both looking at each other. I have to reverse back to the nearest passing place. So I reverse into that. They drive past and wave. Off I go again, only to meet another car. And I have to reverse again. You know that people can't reverse when they look at you, put their hands up in the air and shake their head negatively, as if to say, I don't know what to do. Can you help me out of this situation? It's funny, isn't it? People can't drive. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about motorists, but we used to head off 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Actually, thinking about it, it must have been earlier than 5. I remember waking at 4. Did we go at 4? Anyway, it was dark. Now, if it was summertime, which it would be for a holiday, it gets light about 4:30, so it must have been earlier. But that was lovely. We'd have our stuff packed and off we'd go. We'd get in the car. I remember saying to my dad on one occasion, how do you know the way? We were going to Wales. I said, how do you know the way to Wales? And he said, well, there's signposts. And I thought that was amazing. And a map, of course. He had a map. And I was looking at the map. I didn't give directions. That would have been fatal. I think my mum was doing the directions on the map as he drove. But that was great fun. It's great fun for kids, isn't it? When we used to take the grandchildren to the Isle of Wight, they loved it. They'd stay here overnight. In the morning, I'd say, right, who wants to go to the Isle of Wight? Me. And they'd all pile into the car with they'd have furry animals that they're taking with them. What was it? One had a comfort, is it called a comfort blanket? She'd have that put up to her face, and off we go to the Isle of Wight. And, even now they're adults, well, teens, 20s. They remember it all. They often talk about the Isle of Wight. Oh, that was good. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? I think it's lovely for kids to have holidays like that, family holidays. Thank you all very much for your messages and emails. I can answer emails while I'm away, so if you want to say anything, raise rants at protonmail.com. I can answer emails, of course. We have a half-decent Wi-Fi signal where we're staying in the cabin or the lodge, whatever. I forget what they called it. I don't know what it is. It's in the woods. I like that. There'll be recordings of birds. You're thinking, oh no, not again. How many times have we heard the Isle of Wight birds? I'm really looking forward to it. We're not taking kids, we're taking old ladies. Trisha's mum and her friend. It's quite funny because we're all pensioners we all get discounts, because we're senior citizens wherever we go, or as Trish calls us, senile citizens, and she's not. She's too young to get the senile citizen discount. Happy days. OK, behave yourselves while I'm away. I don't want you getting up to any no good, any nonsense. If you are bad, don't get caught. I'm going to behave myself. I have to. I can't swear at other motorists. I've got the ladies in the back. Can't swear at motorists and see, make signs out of the windows to people. As if I would do that anyway. Stone the crows. I shall be back with you next Wednesday. Have a good week. Look after yourselves. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye for now.